All righty, we're pleased to have on today from Lloydminster, Saskatchewan. He's a retired hockey player that played in the National Hockey League, a Western Hockey League alumni of the Red Deer Rebels, a league champ, Memorial Cup champ, and as well as a Saskatoon Contact alumni. He's a beauty. And after all that, ladies and gentlemen, we welcome on Colby Armstrong, a.k.a. Arm Dog.
What's up, boys? Good Sasky boys.
Good.
I love it. I love it. Thanks for having me on. I never thought I'd be on a golf podcast, but here we are.
Yes. So as we talked off record, golf started as now it's moving to some hockey stuff, but we've had NASCAR drivers on too. So we're all over the map. Like I said, so first, thanks all for coming to the podcast. What's new with you? What's happening? What's going on in your world?
My world is, well, I have 4 kids, so it keeps me pretty busy. But as far as work goes, I live in Pittsburgh now. So I've been here probably 6-7 years. First year I moved here after I quit playing, I was in Saskatoon for the year, that winter, first winter out of hockey. And I was like, what am I doing here? What am I going to do? And I ended up having a house here. So I moved back here. And then that was when the Pens went back to back. And I started dabbling in with Rogers Sportsnet and got some radio stuff with the Penguins here a little bit. And it's slowly grown into like a little bit more over all these years. And just recently, I guess, just doing playoff stuff here for the Penguins, and they lost. They lost in Game 7 in overtime after being up 3-1. So that kind of ended my work here for the Penguins for the year. And all while doing that, I did a between the benches with TNT TBS in the first round of the playoffs for Boston, Carolina, and then Game 6 for Tampa, Toronto in Tampa. That was honestly probably, getting to sit on the desk next to Ron McLean on Hockey Night in Canada for one show before the pandemic hit. I had one more on my schedule before that year was to end. That was really cool to do that. Like growing up watching Hockey Night in Canada, being able to do that was an awesome thing. But I got to say, like being between the benches and like doing color on an actual game, never mind a game, like a playoff games in Boston, crazy, awesome sports town, and in Tampa, defending champs, Leafs, Lightning. I mean, that's probably the highlight right there.
I think that would be so intimidating being a color guy between the benches, like going to the other bench. Hey, coach, walk us through the first 10 minutes, and they're just getting shit kicked like 4 rip. Like,
oh, I know. I had to do actually the rinkside reporter that we had. She got COVID in Toronto, so she was like kind of jammed up and had to stay and couldn't be there. So I had to do like some of the interviews down there and like post game with Braden Point, who scored the OT winner.
Yes.
Sick. Moose Jaw Warrior alumni. What's up? But I'm like, I don't know how good I am at doing interviews. Like, and I've kind of done that this year for Sportsnet too. I kind of got bumped over to digital side more. So like features and interviews and different things.
Right.
It's like a whole new appreciation for people that are really, really good at, interviewing people, talking to people, getting questions out. Like I probably talk more than they do, just trying to get the question out, which is like, I think a no, but hey, you get what you get. You get what you get when you get me, that's what happens.
Walk us through that goal, because here's what I would have done. You start talking about yourself. I think that'd be way better for the game.
You really, hey, I scored a sick OT goal once too.
Just cut him off and back to you.
Talk about yours.
Or whatever it is.
Yeah, I know. I should have been like, yeah, well, I scored in triple OT in the minors in the playoffs once. No big deal. Up to you, John. That's enough from this schmuck.
And then you steal the towel. All right, Army. Before we get into all your your playing days and whatnot, we got to backtrack to younger Colby Armstrong, the things you're up to, hobbies. Obviously played hockey, but growing up in the city of Lloydminster.
Yeah, so I was born in Lloyd. We lived actually, and you know how it is in Saskatchewan, in small town called Paradise Hill. I think it's like 45 minutes northeast of Lloyd. And my dad was like, worked on like the oil patch out there, and was a welder and did a bunch of different things. And we ended up in that little small town. My mom taught skating, and she would teach in Lloyd. So it was close enough, and I was born at the hospital there, but then eventually moved to Saskatoon and grew up mostly in Saskatoon, played soccer and hockey all the way through until I was like, I did some figure skating. Actually, my mom was a figure skating coach. So I figure skated for like 4 years too. Wow. From like, I don't even know what grades was I in, grade like 5 to 8, almost 9. So I was on the ice all the time, and that was crazy. I would like get made fun of and stuff, but like I was pretty good at skating though. I was good on my skates, good on my strong on my edges, and like it definitely helped me and improved my skating for sure. But so I just did those, and like, you know what it's like growing up in Saskatchewan. It's easy. You can bike to the park, play your soccer game, bike home. You know, you can, you know, pretty much get anywhere on your rollerblades. It's flat, nice and easy. And, you know, I was able to get around and just be like a regular kid in Saskatoon growing up playing sports. I love sports. So, and actually, Jeff Will, I don't know if you're familiar or know him at all. The jockey. Yeah, just an absolute beauty. So I got tied up with him and a group of guys, Keegan McAvoy, some of these other guys from Saskatoon, and the jockey Jeff Will. He got me golfing. Actually helped me buy my first set of clubs. I never owned a set of clubs. I was like 23 years old, and he called me Penguin because I was with the Penguins. It might have been because of my nose too. I don't know, but he'd always be like, "Hey, Penguin, let's go." You know, he gets say, "Hey, oh, hey." And he got her going, and we went over to a buddy of his who was like a rep for one of the club companies. I forget what it was at the time, but they had Cleveland. I got Cleveland like beginner clubs. He's like, "These are perfect for you. You're just starting." They dialed me in, got me going. I still have, I need a new set of clubs. You guys have sponsors? Like, let's go. Like, I need a new set. I still have the same set since I was 23, the same set that the jockey helped get for me. So he was awesome though. Like, he'd take me golfing. In the summers when I come home after the off season, I hang out with him, and he'd get me going and teaching me. And he's a tiny guy, right? He can absolutely pound the ball though. He was so good. And eventually introduced me to Graham Dillette. I got to golf around with him at Dakota Dunes in Saskatoon too, and follow him a little bit. I have a great story actually. He was golfing in Hamilton at like the Canadian Open, and I was out there like doing some like one-on-one skills work with this you know, big name hockey skills guy, and I was in St. Catharines, so I heard they were there, so I wanted to go watch Dillette. So I had a rental car, drove up there, and I'd never been to a golf event before, and I was wearing flip-flops. brutal decision one, because it's like you got to walk around a lot if you're going to follow a guy. And they play like at a good pace. And it's like, okay, so I'm like tracking around to try to find what hole he's on to catch up to him. And I'm like, you know, your flip-flops like flicka, 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 flicka. They're like flicking around. You could just hear it cracking and snapping as I'm like running around the course. And the guys with like the quiet please signs are like staring at me, trying to get me to stop flicking around with my flip-flops. So I was wheeling around trying to find him, eventually caught up to him and followed him for like the last like 5 holes of that round, which was awesome. See like a Sasky boy just like crushing it at that time too. He was coming on the scene and doing really well. So that's my golf story, all leading from the jockey and never playing golf to getting introduced to all this stuff. And that's kind of where I'm at now, living in Pittsburgh, where I started playing in the NHL, and my wife and 4 kids now. And yeah, that's my life. That's my whole life story there, buddy.
Okay, well, before Turner jumps in, you know, our good buddy Steve Coolidge came on. He had a great interview, so we had to evaluate after, and then we got him. You know, we helped him out with the TaylorMade deal. So maybe we'll call our guy after, and we'll see how this goes. So just keep the pace up. Right now, we're here. Let's keep building Army, and then
I keep the energy going, boys. This is what I do.
There it is.
Blue guy.
Amazing. All right, Army. You mentioned you moved to Saskatoon as a young age, so. Let's talk about a little bit of your minor hockey experience playing in Saskatoon, along with playing with the Contacts, midget.
Actually, I played for the Blazers. I was supposed to play.
Me too.
I was supposed to play for the Contacts, and I think I wanted to play for the Contacts. I forget which way it went, but I ended up landing with the Blazers. And I don't know, maybe does it say on my hockey DB that I'm
Contacts?
Yeah.
Because I was like, I played Blazers. I mean, it'd be a lot cooler if you played for them too, but. Well, now
Blazers, buddy. There we go. Yeah. So I came in after like Jared Stoll. He played for the Blazers, and I came the next year. Like he ripped it up as like a 15 or I don't know what it was. He set like records and stuff. And I'd go watch him play. He moved from Yorkton to Saskatoon in high school. So he came in, and you know, I became like good buddies with him, like both obsessed with hockey. He's obviously like sick. He was sick as a kid, like really sick. And like he'd pick me up, take me to workouts in the summer, and like I like never worked out until I like met him either. But yeah, he was like on a different program, man. So he was like a great buddy to have around. And yeah, I played, I think, just the 1 year with the Blazers that I played there before going to Red Deer and junior. But yeah, I grew up in an area, Arundel. It was like kind of it was an outskirt area, like a newer area on the edge of the city on the east side. And
what school did you go to?
all new schools like St. Joe's, Father Robinson, like
Where'd you
all
go to
these.
school?
I went to Father Robinson. It's like on the road I grew up in. It was like 2 minutes down the street. And then St. Joseph's High School
Okay.
is like 10 minutes away in our little area there. Of course, now I go back and it's like, you know, we used to be the outskirts of town with nothing behind us. And now it's like all neighborhoods and full blown areas. It's
Right.
crazy how much it's grown. But yeah, played for the Saskatoon Red Wings, minor hockey, all the way up. Tier 1, you know, no big deal. The whole way. We had some good teams. I think in Bantam, we went to the provincial final against a good Swift Current team back in the day, and they beat us in a, you know how you just play like the 2-game series, goals for and against.
Yeah.
That's Bush League 2, by the way.
Yeah, I do that in pro.
Yeah, it should be a series. It's a joke. 2 games. Like, what the hell is that? You have one bad game, you're done.
Yeah, you're close.
But it's like, I loved it. I grown up in Saskatoon. It was easy. Like, it's so small, but we had like, you know, the Raiders, the Barons, the Knights, Bobcats, but like, you know, majority you went to school with some of the Bobcat kids and stuff, or, you know, because there's like a little bit of a crossover in some of the neighborhoods and different things. So yeah, it was great. It was great. Hockey was awesome. Like, you go to school and play hockey with all your best buddies in school too. It's not like, you know, kind of like USA hockey is totally different. You can go play wherever you want. It's crazy. So it was a pretty great childhood and easy in Saskatoon.
All right. So since that the DB and elite prospect has blown this whole thing so far, we're gonna try and smart. We have you getting drafted the Red Rebels in the 6th round,
Yep.
103rd
You
overall.
played for the Rebels, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I got one thing right on there. Does it say I have like 100
Oh, I
goals?
actually played for the Blazers, Kamloops.
Does it say I had 100 goals one season by chance or no?
Nope, not that one. No. Okay. So now it's all good now, right? And the Red Rebels here. Well, you know, what was it? I don't know. My question is, was it always a thought to play in the Western League, or was college ever a thought?
Yeah, I think back then, and I don't know, college was kind of like an option, not really like what it is now, I would say. I remember I got a letter from North Dakota, and I thought that was like awesome. I was like, this is so cool. Like, wow, how they came and watched me. Wow, that's really cool. And then I like found out like they sent like North Dakota sends letters to like a lot of kids.
Oh.
I found that out. I don't know if that was the truth, but I felt like everyone that I started talking to, they're like, yeah, I got a letter from them too. And I'm like, oh, okay. So they must just like dominate the region or something, like recruiting.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought I was like really skinny and small when I was at that age of my Bantam draft, like most kids are.
Right.
And like, I kind of thought I might get drafted, but I wasn't really sure. And I don't know. I didn't know really what to expect. I remember when I got drafted to Red Deer, I was shooting hoops at my buddy's house down the street, playing like a wicked game of bump or something. And I remember my brother came down the street. He's like, hey, well, mom said to get home. So I ran home like 10 houses down. My mom's like, hey, you got drafted. They just called to the Red Deer Rebels. I was like, oh, okay, great. And then I was like, can I go back to my buddy's house? My mom's like, yeah, go ahead. And I went back and started playing hoops. Like, it didn't even register. But then I think looking at the draft, I don't know how many rounds there were in that draft. But like, I literally went I think there was like 8 rounds in the draft. So I like went like fairly close to the back end of that draft.
Right.
But I like, it worked out perfectly for like my junior career, because it was like unbelievable place to play. And we had lots of good players, and ended up having really good teams in my time there. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you probably get that call and you're like, I might go college, and Sutter's like, no, you're gonna play for us.
Well, when I got drafted to them, Sutter had just like bought the team. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, like I can't be sure on the timeline, just because I was like, how old are you when you get drafted? Like
14.
14. Yeah.
So it's like, you're not really paying attention to like the ins and outs of like sales of junior teams. But he had just bought the team and like become like the GM and the head coach. So I think it might have been, no, sorry, he didn't yet. I got drafted under the old thing, and then a few years later he bought the team when I could have made the team. I got cut as a 16-year-old, went back and played for the Blazers. And then the next year came back as like a 16, 17-year-old, because I have a November birthday, and made the team. And that was Sutter's first year buying the team. So I was kind of under the old old group that owned it and
Yeah.
ran it. And then Sutter came in and that's when I made the team and got in there with him. But talk about a guy that came in and took everything over. I mean, owner, GM, head coach, everything. He came to my house with like our head scout, I remember, for like to meet me. I don't know what he thought of me. I was like, at the time I was probably like 5'11", like 125 pounds, like little skinny rail with zits all over my face, like, oh, hey, like a dork. And he's like, this is one of our draft picks. Like, what the hell is this? I can imagine what he was thinking, but he molded me pretty good. I think I came with some good raw tools and stuff, but he got me going and got our whole team going pretty good. We had a good young team. We had I think 6 or 7 16-year-olds my first year there. So we were young and moldable, and he had us going pretty good. That's a guy exactly like Sutter will tell you. So he'll get you going for sure in telling you what he wants or what to do, Turner, for sure.
I'm sorry, I made that funny face. I'm right on the edge of our golf course here, and I just witnessed a guy just like drive right over a bunch of tee boxes on his cart and just keep going.
Oh, that's bad etiquette. That's brutal etiquette. Maybe he was making a sick TikTok though, That's allowed.
You would know. You're good with all the young kids now. So.
Yeah, that'd be sick. I'm like an influencer. I'm like a TikTok guy.
All right. So we're going to stay on the train of the Red Deer. I'd like to talk about that 2000-2001 year where you guys made the run and winning a WHL championship and then winning the Memmer. So, I mean, not very many people get to experience or run like that at a young age. So, I mean, walk us through it.
Yeah, I've only had 2 good runs. One was in the minors. We went to the final, Calder Cup final, and the other were with our Red Deer teams. And they were awesome. Yeah, it was incredible. Our team that year, I think we were ranked like number 1 in the country. Like they come out with these rankings from all the leagues. I don't know how they decide it, but we were ranked number 1 the entire way through. So it was quite the thing to, I guess, like keep the expectation of that up through the playoffs. But we had a huge rivalry against the Hitmen, and they were really good too. They had really good teams, and lead up to that season in previous years. Like, Sutter used to say, like, this is a joke. Like, you guys are beat before you got off the bus to play like Calgary, because they were so good. They had like so many good players, and like Pavel Brendel was scoring like 70 goals a year, and it was crazy how good they were. So we played them in the second round of that run and beat them, I think, in like 5 or 6 games.
Wow.
And after we got by them, it was like, we were like, okay, like we can go. And, we had good leaders, good veteran guys, and we had good young players too. I think we had like 6 guys drafted in like the top 3 rounds that year, my draft year. And then, just getting like, I think the first time I ever flew on an airplane was that year when we flew to play Portland in the final. That's crazy, right? Sutsy flew us out there on a plane. It was sick. We were on like commercial plane, whatever, flew to Vancouver, got on another plane, flew down the States. It was like kind of crazy, but other than that, it was just like a really I probably look back on it as one of the best years I ever played. I actually got a picture of us right here. This is us right here, man.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah.
Jeez.
The old red seat to the Agrodome.
That's Regina right there, boys. Yeah, couldn't happen in a better place to have the tourney too in Regina. Like all my buddies and my family. It was awesome. You guys in Regina put on a good show too. Like all the family members, like at the beer gardens, were just getting piled up every night. It was hilarious. Like seeing everybody, like all the brothers and sisters and everyone all just like destroyed the next day. It was great.
If my dad saw that picture right now, he'd be crying.
Oh, yeah. Why?
Yeah, he was the head scout for the Pats that year.
Oh, was he? No way.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he would be. You guys, they had a good team too, but they were out in the first round, I think, and you had to wait. They had to wait like all that time to play us again. They had like Barrett Jackman, and they had like a bunch of really good players. You guys, the Pats were pretty good that year too. So they actually beat us in the Memorial Cup. They were only team we lost to, but we were already booked into the final because we won our first 2 games. So it was kind of one of those. And then we had a bunch of fights, like Garth Murray and Dougie Lynch had a big toe-to-toe. They were bleeding. I think Garth Murray was bleeding. Dougie could chuck him pretty good, but and then we had a couple other fights in that game too. So we got kind of out of control. I think Regina beat us like 4-1 or something like that.
Army, I want to ask about the year after, because in the next year after you guys win the league title, you win a Mem Cup. And the next year, you guys are obviously confident again. You guys go right back to the league final.
Yeah.
What would you say was different between, the team that won it all to the team that, unfortunately losing in the final?
Well, we lost a lot of our like veteran guys. So now I was like considered, I guess, like a real veteran guy. I was drafted already, and a lot of our guys were. We also had Shane Bandera, who was our goalie, and he'd been in the league for a little bit at the time. And I think that was Cam Ward's rookie season. So right. He was like a 16-year-old goalie. I know like it's been done before, but it's just, when you have a little bit more of a veteran experience guy, it probably helps. But we had I couldn't believe we lost to Kootenay in the final. And I think they beat us every time they beat us was in overtime. So it was like,
was that Dawes year?
I think Dawes was there. Yeah. And then Duncan Milroy, remember him?
Yeah.
He scored like the OT winner on us to beat us, to sink us and to win their 4th game. And I he had a good shot. Like he could snipe. He scored a lot of goals in the Western League, and he just kind of came in and just picked top cheddar on Wardo. It just buried us. I thought we were going to go back to back. Like we were that good. We had just really good players and enough guys kicking around, and young guys that are like main core of our team was like really good. So I don't know. That one still kind of stings. It was a great run. I think we were down to Brandon Wheat Kings actually in like round 2 and had to storm back to beat them. Big goal from Chris Niesner. There's a name from the past. He scored a big OT winner to win a game for us, to bring it back home, to win another game. And then I think, we had to take them to 7 to beat them. I think we're down 3-1 against them. So we had a little bit of a scare, but we were definitely good enough to like go back to back. I think Kootenay ended up winning Memorial Cup that year.
Right.
So, I think, if we would have got through, we would have been probably set up pretty good to win another one. But yeah, that one, I still think about that one, and I'm like, damn, man, we could have done it. We could have gone back to back. It sucks, just not enough. We just fell short.
Well, I didn't mean to put a damper on the mood, so we'll pump it up to now onto your pro career. In 2001, you were selected in the first round of the Pittsburgh Penguins, the 21st pick overall, I believe.
Yep.
Walk us through what that day meant to you and your family, and then obviously we love good draft stories. So any good draft day, suits or sweating through your suit or.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I was sweating through my suit at the combine meetings, which was like embarrassing. And that's the only reason why like the Pittsburgh combine meeting wasn't super memorable. But the fact that like they like told me to relax and like chill, and like I was wearing like a suit, and it was just like in a hotel room, and like they're like, take off your coat, just relax, and I'm like, no, I'm good. And they're like, no, they like kind of like just like trying to help me relax. And like, but my back was just like a full V sweat stain down the back. And they're like, Jesus, man, relax. They're all like, I'm like, I told you I didn't want to take off my coat. Like, God, leave me alone. But the draft was really cool. The day before the draft, I went for another 2 meetings. I went with Washington for one, which was really cool. They're in these fancy ass hotels. I was like at with my parents at like a Holiday Inn type of thing, and like we were down there too. And like my mom loves like seafood and shrimp and stuff, but we're like from Saskatchewan. So what's like the good option to get that? It's like Red Lobster.
Yeah.
So we were down there. We think like Red Lobster is still like the shit, So I think we still went to like a Red Lobster while we were down there pretty much to like get seafood, even though we were in Florida where the draft was. The draft was in Florida. But I ended up going to another interview the day before the draft with the Coyotes, and their scouts and head guys are in there after it was done. The one guy took me back to his room because I told him in the meeting I've never like swam in the ocean before. And they're like, no way. And I'm like, yeah, I swear. Like it's probably like my 3rd plane ride ever, like coming here. And they're like, oh my God. They gave me a pair of his swim trunks. I was like a buck, like 40. I put on these swim trunks and like went in swimming in the ocean with Warren Reichel, who ended up owning like the Windsor Spitfires later and stuff, but he was one of the scouts. And Shane Sherla was the other guy, if you remember him. And I went swimming in the ocean with Warren Reichel for the first time. It was hilarious. It was awesome. That was like the first time I ever went in the ocean. And yeah, and then the next day, obviously the draft was crazy. Just seeing like, Wayne Gretzky on the floor and like just faces and stuff that you've only seen maybe on TV. Like I'd been to like 3 NHL games prior to that. I think I went to 1 Oilers game and 2 Flames games prior to that. Growing up in Saskatoon, in Saskatchewan, we don't have like that. Like we got like the Blade signing autographs in the mall when I was a kid. That was like unbelievable, So it was just a really cool experience. My mom, my dad, my brother were there. My sister couldn't make it, and yeah, it was like surreal to be like in that, and then to get called up and like in the first round, to go up on the stage and do that whole song and dance, like to be a part of that, like it was pretty amazing thing to like experience for me and my family. Like I'd never flown with my family before on a plane going down there, so right. It was amazing to like do that with them, because we never got to take vacations as a family really, because we're just wanted to play sports and hockey, and we didn't have time to do or enough money to do anything else. So that was actually really great experience.
Yeah, that's wild. That's sick. Well, I was gonna let Turner go ahead here, but the local guy's cutting the grass in the background there. He said at his condo there. So, so you ended up starting your pro career, and it's pro hockey is better than I played. So everyone's different. And some guys play right away at 18, some guys don't play until they're 25, whatever it is. But you started your pro career with Wilkes-Barre, 3 full seasons, and then getting into your first NHL game later. But walk us through your time at Wilkes-Barre. Obviously, we've all heard about it from Biz and Witt and those guys on Chicklets. But you told us off the record about your I think triple overtime goal. But walk us through just that program. And I think they feed so many good guys. It's almost like Detroit's program. So yeah, that's how they groom players. So
yeah, they do, and coaches too. They do a good job with coaches. Like they pump out coaches all over the place also. But I think our situation was a little more unique than like the way it is now for Pittsburgh. Like Pittsburgh was like financial trouble like when I got drafted there. So they were in bankruptcy issues and had some other things going on, and we're fielding teams that weren't like super great. I think we're just veteran guys that were kind of at the end of their careers that were a little bit cheaper. But the year I got drafted, they had a little bit of a mini run. Remember they put in like Hedberg Moose, the Moose, they put him in net, and he had like a Manitoba Moose helmet on.
Oh yes.
And he went on like a little bit of a playoff run, and I think they made it to like the second, or I forget what they did. Kasperitis scored a big overtime winning goal to push it to like they won a series, and they weren't supposed to. And so they kind of had like some minimal success. So it was like on my radar a little bit, but yeah, they weren't like in the best financial situation. And because they had been kind of bad, they were able to get like some pretty good prospects and picks over the years. And they just stuck us in the minors. So, looking back on it, everyone's in a big rush to get there, but playing down there with everyone was, probably the best for me to develop and like my body. Like I came there, I was 19 years old. I was like a skinny rail still. I was a tall, skinny rail. And like, there's kids, like I was rookie with like Matt Murley, who's on Chicklets now. He does all the he's the best guy ever.
Boy,
and a couple other guys that were like 23-year-old rookies coming out of college that were like, in good shape and built, look like men, so I think they had a little bit of an advantage. And there was like no rules back then either. Like they had like no veteran rules. So we had like, we had like 33-year-old AHL journeymen on our team, and I was playing against guys with like mullets, and they're like freaking like missing all their teeth and have never played an NHL game, and they just like are in the like playing in the jungle their whole life. It's crazy. So I came in that situation and the financial situation of the Penguins that, I think we were able to like play a long time together with really good teams once again. So I went from really good teams in junior to like really good teams in the minors as well. And we were able to be really successful through the playoffs, and until the point where, I kind of played myself out of the league. Finally, it took me a while. I never got a game. I never got called up. I cleared waivers, came back for my 4th year in the minors. I thought I was going to Russia, and I was like, this isn't gonna work. No one claimed me off waivers after the lockout season, which was arguably probably the greatest American League season ever, because we had like every team had their top 6 was all NHL young players that played in the NHL the next year. And I had a good season that year too. And I think we went to the Calder Cup final that year as well. Our team was just really good. The year before we went Calder Cup final. The next year we lost to Philly in the playoffs, and they got Jeff Carter and Mike Richards out of junior, and like put them over the top. They were really good. But I eventually got called up around just after Christmas on my 4th year straight in the minors, and never went back down. So all those years of playing to get to that point, and then finally like playing myself out of the league to the point where I think they had to call me up, kind of was, looking back on it now, I'm like, God, I wasted so many years down there where I could have been banking paychecks and doing all this, like my body wear and tear could have lasted less in the minors, but it was probably the best thing for me to be ready to play when I got there.
I was actually watching a video of you yesterday when you mentioned like you're so skinny, you're putting money on the board in Wilkes-Barre room. I think it was your first game.
Yeah.
For a goal and 2 assists or whatever. And I was trying to read the number. The video was so brutal. Like it was just like I couldn't even see the number. Do you know what the number was you put on the board?
I don't know. It was probably like $200 maybe or something. I think it was like pretty big for that at the time. But the guys were all on me because I got the big signing bonus when I was young. So I was like 19. Yeah, I scored 2 goals that night too. And I was like, I thought I was just going to rip the league apart. I'm like, this league's easy. I think I ended the year with 8 goals. It was good first night. Yeah, it was a good first night. And we were playing against like the Toronto Maple Leafs farm team too, which was super cool.
Right.
It was really, really cool. And that first year was kind of an eye opener to like pro hockey and like, the job, what it's like as a job. Cause I thought it was just hockey before. And then I got there and I was like, oh shit, these guys are different. Like, this is different.
Was there ever a time that you were kind of like, maybe after your 4th year and then you said, waivers and whatnot, like, was there like, fuck, like maybe I'm done, maybe the NHL's not for me. Like, was there just like frustrating times? And I mean, obviously I think every athlete goes through it, but yeah, walk us through that, just that time.
Yeah, I think there was frustrating moments where I just was like, I was done with the American League kind of. I was like, wanted a shot so bad and I just wasn't getting it. And then the clearing of the waivers, because I had a good camp that year too.
Right.
I think I led the Penguins in points in the preseason. And I don't know necessarily if I'm like known as like a point producer guy, but I think that usually like lends itself to like keeping you around for a little bit off the start. But I got sent down and I cleared waivers and I was like, shit, because any team can kind of grab you then. And I never got like, no one took a sniff or got nothing. So I was like, when I went down to Wilkes-Barre, I was like, damn, like, I think I'm done. Like, what's for my future? Maybe the KHL. That's like, honestly what I was thinking. I'll probably end up in Russia if I don't after this, because it's just, I'm never going to get a look. So yeah, there was some times like through it that I was like kind of down about like, if it was really going to, be in the cards for me or work out or where I would be.
That's wild. Rip, is that guy done cutting grass or what?
Yeah, we got going right now.
All right.
Is what it is. All right. So you grind a few years, but you finally get that shot up in the NHL in that 2005-06 season.
Not a big deal.
I mean, yeah, not a big deal. Walk us through that game. I mean, you got to play with a very dominant veteran lineup. So, I mean, let the people know.
Yeah, it was interesting. I think the Penguins that year lost like their first 9 games to start the season. And I think Eddie Olczyk was the coach at the time, and he ended up getting fired a little while later. And they called up our coach from the minors, Michel Therrien, who I had majority of my pro career with him. But yeah, I got called up just after Christmas. Actually, it's a crazy story because it was at Christmas. So my mom and dad and my sister were down visiting over the holidays. And, they were at my like girlfriend's house at the time, my wife now. So we just finished the game. They all went back to the house except for my girlfriend, Mel, and my sister waited after to like go home. So they were just kind of like milling around down bottom, waiting for me to come out. And they came and called me in the office. So I went in there and they told me I was getting called up. And when I came back into the trainer room, we had like a strength coach. His name was Steph Dubé, great guy. And he was like, I knew before, he had like French accent. He's like, yeah, I knew before the game you were going to get called up. You know, I had 2 goals and 4 assists, I think, in that game. And I was like, what the friggin' hell, man? Like, you guys knew I was going to get called up before the game started. And you still, what if I broke my leg?
Yeah.
I was so pissed that he told me that, kind of, because I was like so happy to finally get the chance. But I was like, man, I played a game knowing I was going to get called up, but I didn't know, but they knew that they were going to call me up after the game. Like, I was like, holy shit. Like, my life could have been totally different looking back on it and something bad happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I got to go back to my girlfriend's place and tell my parents, and my dad was like, he was so fired. My family was so fired up. And then the next morning I flew out with Max Talbot, who got called up again. Also, he started the year with the team though. And they sent him back down. And then we both went up together, caught a plane out to Pittsburgh in the morning, bright and early, went to the rink. I don't even remember if I did morning skate or what. I think we just got there in time because we played the night before. And we played the New Jersey Devils that night, like Marty Brodeur, freaking John Madden, like all these guys' names that you know from like the glory days of some of the some of the good like New Jersey Devils shutdown teams. So it was crazy. I didn't sleep a wink, but my parents were around. It's like a 5-hour drive cross state to get to Pittsburgh, and they were able to come to my first game. So yeah, that New Jersey Devils. It's my first game just after Christmas that year, and it was an interesting first 10 games for sure for me in that spot before kind of everything changed.
So when you get there, and I wrote this down earlier, but I wanted to talk about something as you walked into that locker room, like Gonchar, Recchi, Leclerc, like, those are just a few of the guys I mentioned, but like that roster and that team, like what did those guys not only do, for you just development wise, but just even how to like, be a pro? And not that you didn't know how to be a pro for 4 years in the minors, but now you're in the National League. And like, what do those guys do? Because they've been there for, I would say, minimum 700 games apiece.
Oh yeah, I know. Like, I grew up a Habs fan, so like I thought like Recchi, Leclerc, Lyle Odeline was there. I was like, these guys are like legends, So I was like, oh shit, like this is so cool. And it helped. First of all, it helped that I'd been going to camp there for like 5 years previous to that, so I knew all the training staff. I knew majority of the guys already just from like being there and getting sent. But like, you're there at the time. Camps were like a month long. It was like you were there for a while. That's a lot of per diem envelopes. You know what I mean? So it's like you're just banking per diem envelopes down hard before you get sent down. But it was great. Those guys, honestly, those older guys that we had at that time, because we had some young guys that finally got brought up into there, like myself, Talbot, Whitney, Christensen. I'm probably missing some. And then we had Sidney Crosby, who was, was his first year as well. He was 18.
Never heard of him.
Yeah, just some random dude. That was pretty good. He had showed some promise early, but those guys were awesome for us. Honestly, they were great. We had a young team. Like if we go out together, like Gonch was there, all the boys were there. It's great. I still talk to Rex still to this day. He lives in Pittsburgh here in the off season when he's not coaching. And now he's probably he is looking for another job as New Jersey just let him go. But those guys were amazing to have as young guys in the room. And I was like kind of starstruck too, like sitting in there next to them or hanging out with them. It was like really, really surreal, like growing up watching them. And like, I don't know, it's crazy to think that you're playing on dressing with them in the same room and like they're your friends, they're your buddies, because you just watched them on TV.
Yeah, that is sick.
Yeah, it's sick. It's the best thing about the NHL. That's sick.
Okay, quote unquote, sick move, bro. Referring to the play by Sidney Crosby, scoring the first goal in the NHL Winter Classic. I think there was 70,000 fans there. I could be wrong on the number, but walk us through. Not and that day was snowy. Obviously, you're playing in it, but it was brutal weather. You guys scored like 19 seconds into the game. Walk us through playing in the Winter Classic.
I'm glad you brought that up, because if you didn't, I was going to. I always brag about that goal. It was the first ever Winter Classic that the NHL had done. I think they had done previously like a Heritage Classic.
10 years prior,
year before, right?
Or 2 years prior.
Montreal and Edmonton, and it was like freezing cold, and there wasn't like 70,000 fans there. I don't know how many were there, but not even close. But my buddy Stoll, who I mentioned previously, Jared Stoll, he played in it with Edmonton. So I remember talking to him about like, that was so cool. Oh my God, that'd be really fun to do. So we get drawn into this game, the first ever Winter Classic that is now like held every year on the first
7 times a year,
January on the New Year's. And it was like right off the drop of the puck. It was snowing. It was crazy. It was like, I couldn't believe it was a real game. Like it counted as like points on the standings. That's how like crazy the event was, or crazy it seemed. Now there's so many of them, it's like normal, but at the time it was just like, wow, this is like unbelievable experience. And all those fans, and like they had jets flying over the top during the anthem and all the crazy stuff you could imagine, heaters on the bench, like not your normal NHL game. And I was playing online. It's crazy. I show my kid, I'm like, my son's 11. I'm like, dude, look at this. I was playing online with Malkin and Crosby. I'm like, what the hell is this? Right. But it was awesome. Yeah. 19 seconds in the game, like Sid just got it and like powered it through the snow like a plow and like going around everybody. It was crazy. And then I just cleaned up like a seagull at the dump, just went and cleaned up a little piece of garbage out front, just flew away with it. So yeah, that was good. And then Sid stole my thunder later because they tied it up and we had to go to a shootout, and he scored in the shootout, and all they show from the game is like him celebrating after the shootout win. But I like, it couldn't happen any perfectly for the league that like the young face of the league, scored that winner against Ryan Miller in like this amazing setting. So yeah, that's one of the highlights of like, probably like highlight event of my hockey career, just to be able to experience that and do that. And then also to score so fast. So it's still like the fastest outdoor goal, I think, in the Winter Classic. So I always watch the first minute of every game just to make sure I still got that weird record, that shitty record that they could do as like trivia at a hockey game one day,
I'm pretty sure there was more snow that went in the net when Crosby scored that game winner.
I know. It was tough, man. The ice was in terrible conditions, and it just kept like snowing, like big flakes the whole time. So, we had one area of the ice where it was kind of beat up, and they're like, "Hey, just don't skate in that area. Like during the game, like try to stay away from this area." It's like, oh, okay, yeah, we'll do our best. Yeah.
Put a pylon there so we don't.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
All righty. You moved from Pittsburgh to Atlanta. So how was that adjustment, and what was it like playing with like rock stars like Kovalchuk and Hosel?
No, I got traded for Hosel. Yeah, I was like one of like 3 players and a prospect that got traded. So it was me, Christensen, Esposito, and a pick for Pascal Dupuis and Hosel at the trade deadline. I got traded right at the deadline. So when I got there, Kovalchuk was there. It was crazy. He's sick, man. Like he's a sick player. Like, playing with a guy like Crosby and seeing what he can do, and then playing with like a guy like Ovechkin that's like really good at scoring goals. Like it felt like he scored every single night, scoring 50. Like 50 is crazy.
Right.
So it's like to see him every day and like the way he could shoot and how big he was. The first time I ever saw Kovalchuk was at the draft, because he was my draft year and he went number 1 overall, Spezza number 2, and so on. But I saw him in like the elevator, and I was talking about how skinny I was. He was like, his back to like chest to back was like so thick. Like he was like a man, he was a big dude. And to see how fast he could skate and how good his hands were and how good he could shoot. And like his stick had this awesome, like giant toe curve. It was like, he's such a different player, that it was amazing. So, and then like, even like the media following, we had one beat writer on our media team, that was there every day. We had like no media at anything. We had like no fans. It was just like a totally different environment to play in the NHL. Totally different.
What was he like as a teammate? Was he pretty quiet, or is he pretty outgoing?
Yeah, he's pretty quiet. He's pretty funny though. Like he was really funny. He liked laughing and having jokes. He liked going for dinners and stuff on the road. So I hung out with him quite a bit. And, but when we were at home, he was pretty private, like with his family, and he had kids at the time already too, and married. So he was kind of in and out fairly quick. But when we got on the road, he'd come for dinners and hang out, and he loved having laughs and like everything. And he's a really fun guy to be around. So, yeah, he never won anything there. Obviously it was a challenge for him, and leading the way in Atlanta, which, they made the playoffs once in their entire existence and got swept with home ice advantage to the New York Rangers. So it wasn't like, a great environment, I think, all the time, where it was, hard losing as much as they did in a newer franchise.
So Rip is our stat guy here. He's going to pull up some stats, probably, I'm sure. But playing for Toronto, and I believe it was a couple of years, maybe more. What was that like? I mean, I think it's, I think people shit on the Leafs a lot, and I think it's just tough. It's the media, and it doesn't help them. But you playing there from Saskatchewan, just walk us through your time with Toronto. I mean, I don't know how the seasons were, but I think just in general, putting on that jersey and playing there.
Yeah, it was an unbelievable experience. Like going from Atlanta, becoming a free agent, and then signing with Toronto and having them pursue you and want you, and then going to like a market like that in Toronto, and the history of the team, and the legacy and the players and the alumni of the team that are around, and the expectation. I kind of at the time wanted that, playing in Atlanta, it was just like, the expectations just aren't the same, and like,
do whatever you want kind of thing.
Yeah, it's just different, and there's like no attention, and it just didn't feel like the same. So I kind of was looking for like to go somewhere, if I was going to be a free agent, somewhere where it was like meaningful. Yeah. And I went to the craziest place in the world for that for hockey. But it was tough. My 2 years there were super tough. I ended up getting bought out the last year of my contract, and I got like broke both my feet. I had surgery on my hand. Suffered my first ever like big concussion, where I missed like 2 months of time, got a high ankle sprain. I missed another like 2.5 months. So in my 2 years there, I probably played the equivalent of almost like just over a full season due to injuries. And it was super frustrating, and probably like the darkest time of my career, honestly, trying to deal with that mentally and the injuries. But I mean, it was such an honor and such a cool thing to be a part of that team and put on that jersey, like you said, and play for Leafs Nation, which is like the biggest fan base probably in the NHL. It was just, it was wild. Like, I talk about like playing with John LeClaire and Recchi, growing up watching on TV. Well, we got like, we got like Hockey Night in Canada's Leafs all the time. So, now you're on Hockey Night in Canada all the time, and you're kind of in that kind of spotlight and in the pressure cooker. And it was kind of everything I wanted to be a part of, but it didn't go as I had planned.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, I think we have a few more here, Army. Then we'll go to our segment called Questions from the Gallery, but we got to get 3 more points here, and then we'll.
Yep.
Segment. Rip, go ahead.
Yeah, we're gonna go from one Maple Leaf to another. Playing for Team Canada, I mean, you got to play in 2 World Championships, one in Russia and one in Switzerland, I believe. So that's kind of a complete 180 of.
Yeah.
I mean, walk us through those experiences of playing for Canada, I guess, and
a couple medals.
Represent your country.
Yeah. It was awesome. Like that's probably the proudest I think my mom's been of me, just being able to do that. And I tried out for World Juniors, and I got cut. So this is like the first time being able to represent my country. And actually we made the playoffs in 2007. Was the first year. Now they've strung 16 years together, but that was the first year of the 16-year run for the Penguins. And I remember we were at a Pirates game at the end of the year. We're like boozing, having some beers and watching the game. And, like I'd say like most of the team was there. And I had like, my cell phone rang, and I answered, I'm like, hello. He's like, hey, it's Steve Yzerman. I'm like, yeah, okay, buddy. Like just drinking a beer. It's like, yeah, Steve Yzerman. I just want to know if you'd be interested in coming and playing for our team at World Championships in Russia. And I was like, oh, really? And then I was like, I hit the panic button. I was like, oh my God, it's Steve Yzerman. I was like, oh my God, I can't do this. What am I doing? How am I going to do this? I've been off for like 4 days, 5 days. I've been, we've been having a few drinks and like just about to head home. And now I'm like, okay, like, when do I got to be there? He's like, well, you'd have to leave tomorrow morning. I'm like, oh my God. Like, and then I explained to him my situation. I'm like, I'm at a Pirates game right now, and it's like the end of the year for the last 5 days. And it's kind of like, not ideal situation. I'm going to be like really rusty. And like, I feel like I'm not ready. Like this is going to be really hard. And he's like, buddy, relax. It's like riding a bike. You'll be fine. I never forget. He said that to me.
Our roster.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. And as soon as he said that to me, like, it'll be fine. It's like riding a bike, like Steve Yzerman. Like, I was just like, okay, I got this. Steve Yzerman says it's going to be good. It'll be good. So yeah, I got over there to Russia, and Shane Doan met me in the lobby. He was our captain, and I never met the guy in my life, and like the nicest human being ever. Helped me carry my hockey bag up to my room and all my luggage I brought. And yeah, just amazing. I don't know if our team was like the best team ever assembled for sure, but we never lost a game in that tournament. And we had a great group of guys, and Russia was totally crazy place. Moscow was like the biggest city I've ever been to. It was honestly crazy. When we go to the games, we had a police escort us to the games, and it's like literally nonstop traffic, like 24/7 in Moscow. It is crazy. And they would drive us, and we'd go on the other side of the road, down head on traffic with cop cars leading us, and cars just swerving out of the way of us. And we're just like ripping out of the traffic on the other side of the road. It was like insane. But yeah, it was a great experience. I ended up scoring a goal in the final game. It was the only goal I got. I maybe had one other point, maybe an assist also in the tournament. I was like on the fourth line with a few other guys. Actually, that was a year like Taves played World Juniors, and then he played on this team as well. And he was unbelievable. He was like quarterbacking our PP on the half wall. He was like 18 years old. He was so nasty. And ended up scoring a goal in the final though, and it held up to be the game-winning goal. And we won 4-2 against Finland, and took down a gold medal. So it was honestly the feeling you get representing your country is I don't know, it's hard to explain, like the pressure that you feel, but also like, you know, the pride that you feel to do that. So I got to do it again in Switzerland. We lost in the final to Russia, which was brutal. I've never cried after a hockey game before, but I did after that one. I don't know, just maybe it's because it's like Canada, Russia, the rivalry, you know, the feeling of like letting everyone down, all that kind of stuff kind of hits you. But you know, playing for Team Canada is like one of the biggest highlights of my career for sure.
Oh, that's sick. I wish.
Yeah, it was cool. Like in the dressing room in Moscow too, we won. I think Commodore, like Commie was on our team. He's a beauty. He traded a hockey stick to like a Russian cop for his cop hat. And they have like these weird, distinct, like giant cop hats.
Yeah.
And the guy just like didn't give a shit. He's like gave his Commie wanted the cop hat. And they did like an exchange. So he's wearing like this Russian cop hat around when we won. It was hilarious. It was awesome. And then I went to the airport I didn't even sleep because we were just raging all night. And I went to the airport without sleeping. And I don't recommend that. That's a hard flight home from Russia when you're kind of banged up flying with no sleep.
I believe it.
That's a little easier to do when you got a gold medal around your neck, though.
Yeah, that's
true.
How's she going? How's she going?
All right, Army. I'm almost positive you're a golfer. How much you playing? Where's the home track? And you know, some courses you got to play in your time so far.
I used to love playing at the Willows in Saskatoon. That's like kind of the spot I like.
So much though.
It's changed, yeah. So I lived in one of the condos there.
Oh, cool.
Started developing obviously houses in that community and stuff, which I think was a good move. I think it's cool that way, but I like how there was like hills on the side. I was a brutal like slice golfer, huge slice, boys. Yeah. Slice.
Power fade.
Oh yeah, that's a better way to say it. Yeah, and so I liked how the hills, like you could always find your ball, or like it kind of got redirected back, funnel in. Okay. And so I'd play there a lot with Jeff Will. Had me going out there quite a bit, trying to teach me when I started, and I used to love going there all the time. Here in Pittsburgh, we're members at Treesdale Golf and Country Club here. It's a real nice course, and I don't golf too often. I started off like golfing not too much, mostly doing like scrambles and like tournaments and charity tournaments. So I never really played enough to like really be good, but I kind of want to start doing that. It's hard with 4 kids now though, but like, hey honey, see, I'm just going to go play golf for like 10 hours. She's like, 10 hours. Why does it take that long? Cause it does. Okay. Cause you gotta hit the clubhouse up after, right? You got to, but I hope to golf a little more. I don't shoot that well. Like if I break 90, I that's the greatest time of my life. Like I'll lose it if I break 90. So I'm like a 90 to 95 kind of golfer. which isn't great, but I wish I golfed more.
Well, that's not bad though. Yeah, you should probably start playing more. I mean, 10 hours.
Yeah. You know what's cool? I lived on a golf course here in Pittsburgh. So I bought the house before I got traded. Then I rented it to Craig Adams.
Yeah.
So he played here for a bunch of years, and then he finally called me. He's like, "Hey, I'm moving back. I'm going to retire. This is my last year." I was like, "Okay, crap. What am I going to do? Like sell this house or move back?" So we ended up making the decision to move back to Pittsburgh, moved into that house, which I lived in for like 5 months before I got traded or less. And I hadn't seen it since then. So it's kind of cool going back there, but I was right on the tee box of the fourth hole of a course called Nevillewood. It's a really nice course in Pittsburgh also. And like literally every morning, like by my watch, Mario would come by playing golf at like 10 o'clock or 9:45 around that time. He'd get to the fourth hole, And so like every day it was like Mario, Pierre LaRouche, Jay Caulfield, and maybe somebody else, whoever was in their foursome would come by. And I'd like my kids in their diapers running around the backyard and like driving those little electric like cars. And like, I'm sitting out there, my hair's a mess, drinking a coffee in the back, and Mario comes up, it's like, holy shit, what am I doing? But it's so cool to see like randomly like Lemieux around town, like golfing or pretty much in your backyard, having them around. It's, he's one of those guys that has like an aura or something, but man, he's sick at golf. He's sick at golf. His kid, Austin, is sick at golf too, like really, really good. And for all your golfer listeners, there's some really nice courses here in Pittsburgh and around Pittsburgh that are really, really nice. If you want to think about traveling and checking some stuff out, some really great courses around here.
Maybe me and Turner did a flight down there. We'll play some golf with you guys. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Let
me know, boys.
Do a live pod. Okay, last one here, and then we're going to our segment. So we always finish off before we're going to this into our segment. Piece of advice for a young listener today. Whether that's to be a hockey player, doctor, lawyer. You're now in the media now. Just some advice for a young listener today.
I would say for hockey, especially now, like stick with it. I think we're seeing we're seeing a lot of stories. Although hockey is like big money. You got to spend a lot of money. I think there's never been more different ways to do it, different ways for your path to get you to the NHL. I just think there's so many more options now of, different places to go or how to do it or how you, develop or get better, and just to stick with it, because it's weird how things work out. I for example, like even back in the day, I played with a kid named Jeff Wojwitka. And he wasn't even drafted in the Bantam draft. And like literally I was drafted in the Bantam draft, the 6th round, 2 years later, or 3 years later, I went in the 1st round. Jeff Wojwitka wasn't even drafted in the Bantam draft, played a defense on our team, really good player, and got drafted to Philly in the 1st round right after me. So, there's a lot of different ways to do it. And I think if you want it bad enough and there's something there, to stick with it, because, things can work out and they're always looking. They're always watching. It's never been easier to see someone also. So no matter where you are, where you're playing, always think of that.
Love it. All righty. After our segment called Questions from the Gallery, sponsored by Rubber Co. Rubber Co was founded in 2021. It's made out of 100% recycled tires and has tons to offer. We offer rubber parking blocks, speed bumps, gym flooring, matting, and now our new hockey devices called the Deflector. Check out the website at www.rubberco.com or on social media at Rubberco. You can call as well at 306-541-9840. Think with your head and choose the right rubber. All right.
Let's go, Rubberco. That's a great read right there.
Thank you.
Great read.
Okay. I got a few. I almost had Jockey on the line. He called actually while we were like middle of this thing. He was going to jump on the pod.
But that'd been great. That'd been great.
Questions. So we'll get to that shortly here, but we got to go to lowest golf round ever.
I shot an 83 once, and it was at like a nice course in Vancouver.
Nice.
And I drained every putt. Like that's the only reason why. I just was jarring putts all over the place.
You were Chevy Chase?
Yeah.
All right, Rip.
All righty. So we're gonna best locker room prank. I know you got to play a couple of years with Marc-Andre Fleury.
Yeah, so. He's a beast. He's a beast. I think the best one though, like I think we found it. There's a lot of mice at the old Mellon Arena. And I don't know if this one's been, I think they told this one. Bugsy might have told it on, Bugsy's a good practical joke guy though, too. Like him and Flower are right up there. But they put a dead mouse in a shoe that they killed in the rink and shoved it in the toe of his shoe and then nailed his shoe to like the bench in our change room. So like he had to like rip the shoe off and then put his foot on, and we were going to go for dinner, and it was on Ryan Whitney's shoe. And he put his foot in his shoe, and like we were dying laughing because he didn't know there was a dead mouse shoved in the toe of the shoe. And we told him, and he freaked out. It was hilarious. That was like pretty hilarious. But most of the time the guys do like steal your car keys and drive your car like 3 miles away in the parking lot and let you have to go get it, or, you know, fill your car full of crap. I saw that in Minnesota this year. I saw they filled up some guy's car with like those packing peanuts.
Yeah.
I love that kind of stuff. That was hilarious.
Yeah, that is awesome. And the mouse in the shoe, that's disgusting.
Yeah,
Also,
gross.
okay, here's the one. How do you write this in? Asked about the time when his caddy was caddying for him in the Mary Lemieux charity golf tournament with your golf ball and the towel trick. Is asked him about the Hosel hydrant when he has his bodyguard McAvoy jump across.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, man. McAvoy saved me. Some guy, I don't even know. I've never been to the Hosel hydrant. It's a bar in Saskatoon. And I got some guy, like, I don't know, maybe mistaken identity. I had no clue he was, but McAvoy had to save me off the top ropes. I just walked in the door. I was just meeting some people there. I didn't know like what was going on. Maybe I walked into a bad situation. It got a little hairy, but I'm glad I had McAvoy, my bodyguard there. Yeah, he saved the day, rescued me. But yeah, I got to golf in Mario Lemieux's fantasy camp or fantasy golf camp type of thing. And there's like teams and all this stuff. And we were at like Laurel Valley, which is like really sick golf course, like just beautiful, like helicopter pads and like, you know, private like residences on there and everything. And like, it's like a tournament kind of thing, you know, and I was such a bad golfer, but I got the old lost a ball out of the towel move. I didn't know. I had no clue what I was doing. And he actually hit a shot for me once too, my caddy at the tournament. It was like a par 4, like hard bend. And he like welded it onto the green. It was sick. I was like, oh my God. This guy is the sickest golfer ever. He was my caddy, just a young guy, but he was awesome. He was a beauty. I never played golf with caddies before, ever. I always just like get your own cart at like, you know, the public courses. But yeah, it was interesting, like doing that. But Jockey was my golf guru forever, man. That guy taught me how to golf, and like took me out, tried to coach me up. Real good golfer.
Yeah, and he's a hell of a dude too. Top
notch.
Yeah,
great guy.
Rip, you settled in now over there again?
Next question. Rookie dinner. You got any stories about the rookie dinner? How much it costed, and who are you guys with?
I think our rookie dinner, we had like 8 rookies on the team, so it was like pretty easy for us. We were like 2 guys or something. We were in New York City, just standard like nice steakhouse dinner, like big expensive bottles of wine for like veteran guys, you know. It was like hilarious. But I think like John Leclerc and those guys are like so good to us. Like they capped it at a certain price, and like, you know, we got off kind of easy, I think, just because our guys were so good. Nothing really like super memorable about it, honestly. We went to like some crazy New York City bar after, and there was like VIP section, but it was like tiered at the one end of the bar. I forget the name of it, like something beach. I don't know. It's like probably a famous bar. I'm just forgetting the name, but it was kind of weird because you're like sitting up and on top, like everyone can see you guys like sitting where you're sitting because of the way it's set up. So it was like kind of like awkward as hell, but it was pretty cool. It was fun. It was good, but it wasn't like no crazy story. I don't think the bill was that big. Like I think we got off really easy, like just a couple grand each or something. And I've heard it being really ridiculous, but
oh yeah,
we had good vets. I think maybe that saved the day.
You said seasoned vets, but good vets.
Yeah.
Too. Who was the one guy we had on Turner who played with Dion, and theirs was like 20 grand? Who was that guy? Oh, it's Prust. Yeah, they had like 20 grand. He said it was like the highest one he's heard in a long time, but that's
so he had to pay 20 grand out of his own pocket per guy.
I think him and another guy, they split it at 10 each. Like there's
Oh
only
yeah, that's usually what happens if there's only two. We had so many guys though, it was like, it was a little bit easier. But yeah, that's probably what it was. That's probably what we had to pay. I mean, but it was split between a bunch of us.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, it's crazy. Those bottles of wines at those places, boys, like it's not worth it, it's crazy. It's crazy. I couldn't tell you what a good bottle of wine is and what a bad one is.
$31 tastes about as a $41 one for me.
Yeah, let's go. Sasky style, boys. Let's go.
Fuck, I just got back from England. You go to the bar and get it. It was $2. And I had no clue if it was good or bad. I just fucking crushed it.
Yeah, that's what we do. You just throw it down. Sounds the price is right. Let's go.
Okay. First NHL goal against and who he is playing and who is it on?
First NHL goal was on the power play, believe it or not, against the Atlanta Thrashers on Kari Lehtinen, who I ended up playing with in Atlanta and good friends with him now. I actually scored my world championship game-winning goal for Canada against Finland, against Kari Lehtinen also. So
wow.
Yeah, I victimized him a few times for some good memories. Yeah. It was on the road in Atlanta, my goal, but assisted by Thomas Sorovi and Mark Recchi. So I got Mark Recchi is one of the guys that helped set it up. So it's pretty cool. I think he assisted on Sid's first goal too. He probably has a lot of firsts because we had a young team then. So he was probably getting a lot of apples on a lot of guys' first goals.
Picking up all the pucks.
Yeah.
Rip.
All right. Who would be your dream foursome in golf?
Yeah, you gotta add that in, I guess. Good call, man. I don't know.
Someone did ask one time. Someone did ask that. They're like, in golf?
Yeah, I bet. Yeah.
Actually, in golf?
Yeah, maybe Tiger Woods, right? I'd love to see that. It'd be cool to talk to him. Michael Jordan would be cool, although he'd probably take all our money somehow, gambling on the golf game. And the last one, I guess I'd just take maybe my dad.
I like it.
With those guys. That'd be pretty fun, pretty cool to do.
Okay, I might have been sleeping at the wheel earlier when you told this, but I'm not sure. Jeff asked when he said to mention playing golf with Delat before Dakota Dunes. He could ask about how he hit it all over the map.
Oh God, I'm so bad, man. I'm so bad. Jockey had to talk me off a bunch of stuff. Yeah, I played around before that. I was all over the place. And then the next day I was partnered. He was with Farbs. Remember Farbs, Lee Fairburn, and good golfer too. And I was partnered with Delet. We played like a little mini game, and I think they beat us just because I was so bad. I was so bad. Like Delet couldn't even save me. That's how bad I was. And the Dunes is a tough course. Have you guys ever played that course? It's hard. Like a lot of blind shots. You're like you're down, and like everything's kind of
shit there too.
It's so hard. I lose so many balls, boys. Like it's crazy. Like if I go golfing, I got to make sure just mentally that I have enough balls in my bag so that I'm not scrambling. If I have enough, I can relax a little bit more. But if I don't, I start to get in my own head. Like I'm going to run out of balls for sure today. Like this is a bad idea.
Figure it out.
Yeah.
So Turner chatted for me this past year where I was in the Men's Am and a few other events. And like, I don't know what it is, but like I humbly, I don't lose a lot of golf balls when I play ever. Yeah. And then I put like 35 golf balls in my golf bag. And he's carrying this thing. It said plus 40. We're at Elmwood. He's like, why do you have 40 golf balls in your 37 water bottles? I didn't lose a golf ball all weekend. 4 days.
You're just making them work, hey? Just a mule.
Or I was hoping there's a bunch of fans there. I'd just start signing golf balls and
signing them. Yeah. Unbelievable. That's perfect.
All right. So I had Jeff Smith as assistant coach and junior.
Oh yeah. Where were you? Estevan?
I was in Estevan for a year. Yeah.
And
he wasn't afraid to tell people that he scored the OT winner in the Mem Cup final. Throughout the rumor mill, there's been rumors that he actually did not score. It didn't hit him at all. But can you confirm or not confirm that this happened?
Yeah, I know this has been a controversy. Yeah, because we scored in double overtime of that game, and Smitty, of course, a good Regina boy too. Shout out Smitty. It was like one of the more clutch players I ever played with, like big gangly guy. Like, he could just find a way to score goals though. Great teammate, great guy. But I think Doug Lynch got it to be honest with you. I think I know Smitty was right there, but I think it hit off like the other team and went in. But I mean, frick, even today, it's hard. I guess I'd have to look at the goal again, but I don't really care. It went in. I'll let Smitty, I'll let Smitty take that though. He can have that. He's a beauty. Yeah, that's good. I love that he says that too. That's all.
Everyone knows he scored it.
Yeah, good for him. Yeah, he did score. He did score in the first game against Valdor, who he ended up playing in the final. He did score the OT winner in that first game. So he's super clutch. So I wouldn't be surprised if it touched him, but I think it was Doug Lynch.
You remember when Valdor celebrated when they did their flybys? They slid across the bench.
Yeah, they like jumped into their bench and stuff. Yeah, they were good, man. They had sick players. Like, that's the crazy thing about that. And too, at the time, it's just like never easier to see guys now. You know, like it's so easy to follow, you know, or YouTube or, you know, there's games on broadcasted now all the time. Like you never saw any of those guys then. It was like maybe you saw a picture of them in the hockey news at the time, but like you never saw anybody or knew what they looked like or played like. Yeah. Like I remember when I played in the prospects game in Calgary that year, like I was like, whoa, wow, that's Jason Spezza. Cool. Cause like I only heard about him or saw him in like a picture in the hockey news. I never like saw him in real life or what he looked like. So like to hear the big pumps of guys or, you know, like Simone Gamache that year on that team had like 170 points or something crazy, maybe more. So it's like, who is this guy? What does he look like? How does he play? What does he do that's so good? You didn't see it until we actually saw it. Right. You know, it's crazy.
That's wild. T Army, I have one more, and I don't know if Turner has any more, but how many sticks do you have from when you played?
Oh, I probably have 10 sticks or so left.
Oh, really? I remember seeing Ryan Smith's like Twitter cover photo, and it's like 8,000 sticks. I was just curious if you kept all your sticks when you played or
no. I think, and I don't even think I have. I think I have a new. Remember that O stick, that brutal one?
Oh yeah, you were famous for the O stick.
Yeah. I use that stupid thing, but like I don't know why, but I always tell this about that stick because it's so brutal, right? It's so bad. They the only guys that used it in the league were me and Chris Neal and Pavel Datsuk. So like I just hang my hat on it that like Datsuk used it, because if it was just me and Chris Neal, that stick ain't any good. You know, it's like I always got chirped for my stick too, but I couldn't get rid of it because I actually used a different stick earlier years, and then they stopped making it. And then I tried like go back to Easton. I tried to go to like all these other like Warrior, and none of it felt like the same. And then I got that O stick. I don't know why I tried it, and it felt like my other stick, kind of like just the feel. So I was like, oh, I guess I got to use this thing. So I don't even know the science behind it. Like, is it? I don't know. It's strong.
I think it was aerodynamic. Like they would shoot. It would like it would be lighter under shot or something. It's kind of like that new slingshot.
Air would waft through the holes.
We got to stick with a hole in the blade now.
Yeah, I saw that. What the hell is that? Wow, guys, kids are so weak now. They need holes in their blades because they make their sticks lighter or something. I don't know.
Rip, you got any more?
I'm good.
Alrighty, Army. Man, this has been a blast today. I hope we can do it again down the road. And yeah, I appreciate coming on today, and I hope you had fun.
Yeah, good to catch up with Sasky boys, and thanks for having me on. Good luck and congrats with your guys' show. And if you talk to a golf sponsor, I need some new clubs. All right. And I'll say this, if your guys are coming out to Pittsburgh, hit me up. There's good golf out here.
All righty. Thanks, Army.
Thanks, boys.